Let's see. Okay.
New at 11 tonight, officials with the Pershing County Sheriff's Office say they're looking for this man, Jeffrey Kirkwood.
Hello, is anybody in here?
What is up, Evil Crew? All right, you guys, we are back in a location that you guys have requested us to come back. You guys want us to update this case. We have new information that we've never revealed. No one's ever heard this information. We're going to share it with you today. We are heading to the exact location where it all went down.
Officials with the Pershing County Sheriff's Office say they're looking for this man, Jeffrey Kirkwood.
And we are going to fill you in on so many gaps, so many questions you guys have asked us about this case. But we're going to tell you more when we start to get up there. We're going to the building right now. Let's go. All right, guys, so we are heading up right now to the exact location up this road. This is a very rural location. Like, they'll tell you not to even come out here. Someone died, actually, just right over to our right. Someone died over there. Their car rolled over and they got stranded or something. Was it a roll?
Yeah, I think it was a rolled Jeep.
I think it was a rolled Jeep. I can't remember exactly, but they got stranded on a road just right over there, and one of them died. There was two of them. One of them tried to walk back to get help, but I'm telling you, it's about 20 miles away just to even try to get help from here. That's a long walk along these dirt roads. We're gonna head right up here to this building. Well, on the day when we came up here, we literally almost skipped this building. We had spent all day exploring this entire vast area out here, and we were coming up to this building here that we almost skipped because these buildings are all over the Nevada landscape, identical buildings.
Telephone relay buildings.
Yeah, a lot of the questions people ask us are, what are these buildings? And these buildings are telephone relay buildings for the telephone company and the power companies, and they've abandoned them, and most of them are just empty. So we nearly almost passed this up. We almost didn't even come to this building at all, right?
Yeah.
I was kind of like, you know what, forget it. But we were like, we're in this area. Yeah, we're in this area. We might as well just see. And boy, would we get a surprise, didn't we?
Let's see. Okay.
So when we were coming up here, it was already getting pretty dark.
It was spooky.
It was pretty spooky, but we just had to take a peek inside the building, and man, when we opened that door, did we get something completely unexpected. Completely unexpected. When you say, were you expecting what we found in there?
No.
So as soon as I opened that door and I saw what was in this building, I thought, A, we were either going to find somebody dead inside this building, or B, they were going to be some crazy guy hiding. But it didn't make any sense to me because there was no vehicle outside. And guys, this is so remote. This location is so remote, you can't just walk around and go get help. There's literally nothing out here. There's not many people that come out to this location. When we started to search this building and we started to look around, what we found was just chilling to the bone. When you say it was chilling, it was just like really, really brutal.
There's a bathroom right there. Someone's underwear. Lots of stuff on the ground here.
Is that blood?
We started looking around this building. We started to see what appeared to be blood all over the building. Rags with blood on them, in addition to a bullet hole inside the building that someone shot from the inside out of the building.
Some of these bullet holes look like they came from the inside.
And that, to me...
And then the rag was cut, like
the
it
rag
was covering
had been cut,
a wound.
like it was as if it was covering a wound from both sides of a torso.
Yeah.
So we decided to leave, and that's when we went home and did some research on this location. And found out a lot of information, right?
Yeah, this is the exact canyon where Jeffrey Kirkwood had gone missing. Those were his glasses next to the journal.
Yep.
And
yeah, we found out his glasses were next to the journal.
And then there was a birthday note in his journal that
matched. Birthday that matched the birthday note. So at that point, when we found all the information, he's still listed as a missing person. We would try to click on for more details, and it just kept saying that the record had been removed or something, right?
Yeah.
So he was still listed as a missing person, Jeffrey Kirkwood. So we thought, okay, we may have found
where he's been at.
With missing persons is something to do with him for sure, because we had his birthday had matched. And at that point, this is another question a lot of people ask us, and we get a lot of heat about it. They say, did you contact the police, and we sure did. We contacted the Pershing County Sheriff's Department.
As soon as there was a positive link, because we can't just like contact the police because there's a building full of
yeah, you can't just go. I mean, if we did that, we'd be contacting the police every day. We're out exploring. Oh, there's another building with stuff in it. We're gonna contact the police. So we did. We contacted them. They then informed us that yes, Jeffrey Kirkwood had been found. We asked them if they knew anything about this building. They said no. What building?
Yeah.
We tried to give them all the details about the building and told them that
interest.
Yeah, they had zero interest. They just said, well, he's been found, sir. It's all done.
They didn't treat it as a crime scene.
They did not treat it as a crime scene or anything else. But then, you know, that left us a lot of questions, and we still wanted to make sure. So we then started to dig a little more, and that's when we contacted Jeff's wife, and we showed her the journal. We showed her everything we had found in this building, because the police weren't going to research it. They had no desire to investigate this story at all. So we had to go out and investigate it ourselves, guys. If we didn't investigate it, nobody would investigate it, and this story would have been just completely cold. It would have been left as solved. But we contacted Jeff's wife. Jeff's wife confirmed the glasses were his, the keys were his, the journal was his birthday had matched, everything. So he was up here hiding out. Someone has kicked down the door. All right, as you can see, someone has totally destroyed this place. They kicked the door off, and look, it is still, all his belongings are still burnt. Hello? Oh man, it's bad.
Look at that. Is that fresh?
It looks pretty fresh. We don't want to stir up any rodent droppings, but you can see where Jeff had these stools next to the windows so he could look out the window. And I'll show you right here. Look at, see the tape over those holes? And there's so much rodent droppings in here. Look at, there's still a hanger hanging up. And his underwear are right there. And you can see his bathroom is right there. And you can see the bullet hole. See it right there. Let me zoom in on it. I'll zoom in on the bullet hole. And those are 3 more bullet holes right there where the tape is. You see that? And you can see how they're going in through this way here. And if we go over here, you could still see, look at, all his belongings are still in here. If that's not creepy. And this is where they burned. Someone came here and burned all Jeff's belongings. Like the weird little paintings on the walls. Oh wow, it's gotten completely destroyed.
Even worse?
Yeah, pretty much. There's Jeff's Pink Floyd. We decided to come into our office and do this segment of the video because it's very convoluted. There's a lot of details, there's a lot of actors and a lot of players that we're gonna have to mention, you guys. And a lot of you asked who was our stalker, because in our second video, we mentioned that we had a stalker who was contacting us. He was leaving threats on our YouTube page. He was also contacting our sponsors. He was actually contacting the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, trying to get us in trouble.
And didn't he say you were a criminal?
Yeah, he literally contacted my sponsor, our only sponsor. Then we were a lot smaller than we are now. We had like
100,000 subs.
Yeah, we were much smaller than we are now. And we had our very first sponsor, and he contacted that sponsor. He told that sponsor some lies about me. He said I was a convicted criminal, which is not true. And he told him a bunch of other lies. Just the fact that he even contacted him, trying to get us in trouble with law enforcement. I mean, he tried all these things. None of it worked because we don't do anything illegal anyway. So it doesn't matter.
He was adding all of our videos to his playlist.
He was adding all of our, and he kept on. He got really freaked out. In my opinion, he seemed very freaked out. Now, before,
and he only showed up after the Jeff video.
That's what Jeff. But I want to state this, and I'm going to state this a few times. We're not saying that anybody that we're talking about, that we're going to talk about right here, is involved in any type of crime or committed any type of crime. I want that to be very, very clear.
Yeah, you will have to make your own opinion.
Yeah, we're going to give you the facts, and you can make your own decisions about these people, but we are not saying they're guilty of anything.
Nope.
Okay? So let's go ahead and let's get started.
So in a lot of the comments, he was like rambling about trespassing and all kinds of stuff. But one of the things that stuck out was he started talking, like we weren't even mentioning Jeff Kirkwood. We weren't even mentioning anything. He started talking about Shane Cox.
Which was really weird because Shane Cox was the only name that we found in that building. The name over here, and it's, let me
me show you. It looks like it's Shane Cox from Indiana, New Haven.
And he seemed really freaked out about Shane Cox. He also said some other things about Shane Cox. I remember. I don't think we caught them, so I'm not even going to mention what else he said because I don't have them, the direct quotes. We're only going to quote exactly what Philip Rose said.
Actually, we do have screenshots, so now we know who broke into Shane Cox's trailer.
Yes. Oh, yes. He said, now we know who broke into Shane Cox trailer.
On the Jeff video.
On the Jeff video, which is something we need to tell you guys about Jeff that we learned also after those 2 videos were produced and we did some research. We learned some more details about how Jeff was surviving out there. Before we get into that,
in a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, before we get into that, let's go into like
what Philip said.
Philip Rose said, and we're going to tell you who the other players are that we discovered that were also in that area at the time. So Philip Rose said in one of our comments on YouTube, he said, quote, "I never met Kirkwood. I know Shane and the unfortunate circumstances under which he lost his land. I know that he and another person I know who used to live out there were looking for the missing man, and they told me they found his wheelbarrow near Fencemaker Canyon." Okay, remember that Fencemaker Canyon. It's an important detail to remember.
Yeah, because that's where Jeff's building is.
That's where Jeff's building is, and we have other details that we're not going to tell you just yet. He also said, "As for the person you're talking about who died, I've only heard stories about him. You should ask Shane if you can find him. I know Shane gave him food on a few occasions and hauled water out there. He moved to his Tahoe area." He's talking about Shane moved to his Tahoe area. "While he was gone, somebody broke into his trailer and took some random stuff, but nothing of substantial value." That's what Philip Rosa had to say, which got our curiosity, like, what the heck is going on here?
So we did some research on
We started doing some research on Philip Rosa and Shane Cox because he said to find Shane Cox, which we tried to find Shane Cox in order so we could contact him and ask him some questions.
Yep.
But Shane Cox will talk to nobody.
No, other people have also tried to contact him.
Yeah, he
but
won't
does
talk
not
to
answer.
anybody about it at all. He's just quiet and doesn't say nothing to anybody. He doesn't even respond.
So we learned about Philip is that he owns land out there too.
That's right.
And so did Shane Cox.
Shane owned, but there was a third person he mentioned.
Yeah.
That we figured we got to figure out who the third person is. And we found him. So as we got through research and we found out there was another guy who owned property in the area who was hanging out with Shane and Philip Rosa during this time.
Yeah, and they were all kind of a group of friends. They all owned land out there, and they were all staying in that area around the time before Jeff died.
Yeah, they literally had property within like miles, like 2 or 3 miles of each other. And you guys seen that. Across the canyon, the fence canyon, way across, I think it's probably like 12 miles across from where Jeffrey was. You could see that there's a few parcels of private land over there. Those are private property. Over where Jeff was, where he was living, is public land. That's where we were.
So we're doing some research on David Quimby, and we had found that David had tagged Shane Cox in a post about Jeff Kirkwood. He said, "Shane Cox, we weren't the only ones lost in Buena Vista Valley. Fencemaker is a road going out past your place. He may be down in that canyon you and I went hiking looking for the rolled Jeep."
Yes. So there's another connection. But things get a little crazier because the more they talk, the stranger things get. So somebody that we know contacted Quimby on our behalf. They wanted to find out what information they could find out on him. And this is what we found. I'm going to paraphrase it and then we'll put it on the screenshot. We're going to put the exact thing on there. So if you don't feel like reading, you're going to hear me paraphrase. Basically what David Quimby said is he didn't really remember too much about it. He just said maybe that would be a good place to look.
Fencemaker Pass.
Fencemaker Pass. Remember that again because it's an important detail. So they were supposedly looking on Fencemaker Pass. And how long ago was this?
Well, he was acting like he hadn't. They didn't go looking. He just said, "Oh, well, I think I just mentioned Fencemaker Pass would be a good place to look," which contradicted with what Philip said. Philip said that they went looking.
Yes, they went looking for the man.
Yeah.
So David Quimby basically said, when asked about Shane's property being broken into, he basically said he doesn't remember it being broken into.
No, he basically said it wasn't broken into.
Yes,
he never heard anything about that.
So then David Quimby also had some more things to say, and let's go. Will you just read it to them, maybe?
None of Phil's comments about Shane doing any of those things make sense to me. Shane would have told me, I'm sure I'm a good friend of his. He also moved to Tahoe before this incident. Why he would leave those comments, I have no idea other than he just loves to talk.
So basically he said that Shane did not help the man, did not bring water out to him. And
didn't have his trailer broken into.
Exactly. Basically, we have David Quimby and Philip Rosa saying completely opposite things. They're contradicting each other constantly, right?
Yeah.
Credit to Philip Rosa. His story seems to match more than the other guy's story, than David Quimby's story, right? They seem to contradict each other. But then David said he was going to go talk to Shane Cox, and then he disappeared. That was it. That was the last anyone heard from David Quimby. But we did find something interesting on Shane Cox, his post. He did post about
how a woman died after falling from a mall garage after she was stealing stuff, and he said, I wish all thieves did this.
So he basically wished all thieves would fall and die.
And this is interesting because there's another part we have to get into now.
Exactly. There's another issue that this is big, guys. This is big information. So with all this information, we decided we had to look into this more.
You had to do more digging. So we literally did digging.
We did digging. And so a lot of people say to us, why don't you go to the cops? Why don't you let the cops do this, right? And we get that comment a lot. Don't play detective. Well, let me tell you guys something. It's either we play detective or nobody looks into this case, because the cops had no desire to look into this.
We told them over and over and over again, and they don't care.
They literally
don't care. They say it's not a crime scene. It's solved. He's been found.
Yeah, he's found. So we went back to the building, guys. We did a lot of digging, literally dug through his trash. I mean, he went through great efforts to hide any names.
And there was one name that was on a scrap of paper. It was all torn up. We put it together, and
we were able to piece it back together.
We tracked the person down.
So we found this person. We contacted them.
Yeah.
We showed them also some of the items that we had found in the building, and it turns out that some of the items that were found in that building that Jeff was staying in, and this is very, very important because it would explain why they were not able to find Jeff while they were searching for him, the search and rescue, and why Jeff would hide out in that building, and may even provide a motive to what I think happened to Jeff, because I think Jeff was murdered. So we tracked this individual down, and we showed him like everything inside this building, and they were able, all the things the wife wasn't able to identify,
ID.
Like
the Nintendo DS.
Yes, the DS.
One pair of keys. There was an extra pair of keys in there with a
an extra pair of
fob.
keys. Yeah, I remember that.
She was like, I don't know whose those are.
And but Jeremy, he did know who they were, and they were his.
Yeah, they were his.
And he literally said, what did he say? Didn't he have a quote on here, or that how it was like? Let's just paraphrase.
He said, "Thank you so much for tracking us down and contacting me." And he basically said he stole so much of my stuff. He had stolen the cart, propane tanks, propane heater, water tanks, dishes, hand tools, power tools, the DS, a UCO candle lantern, and box of candles.
So just basically tons of stuff. Things in there that we were also like, why is this written on here like candles? It was like a different handwriting. It was different than Jeff's in his journal. And we couldn't figure it out, but look, we solved it.
Yeah.
Jeff was living out there. He was trying to survive, you guys. He
had to resort to stealing
He
stuff.
had nothing. He was resorting to stealing. I'm not making excuses for him being a thief. He was stealing, but he had to survive. He was trying to survive. He had run out of water. And
there was no food left in
there. There was no food left in there. He was all out of food. And his truck was gone, don't forget now, after his truck was gone. But I think he was stealing when his truck was running.
Yeah,
and
because that's a huge amount of stuff.
And this would explain, you guys, this would explain why he was, first of all, this would explain why he was hiding in that building during the search and rescue, and why during that search and rescue, I believe it was at the same date where they said no raid.
Yeah.
No raid. Some people thought it said no rain, and I did too at first, but now I'm starting to think that it said no raid because he was afraid that they were searching for him because he was stealing from their property. So there's like, 5 people right there that Jeff would have made enemies with because he was stealing from their property.
And then he must have stolen from Shane because he had Shane's belongings in there.
So guys, so we have all these people who are like, do not like Jeff. Now I think someone murdered Jeff. There's motive there. He was stealing. Who it is, I don't know. Could have been none of them. But you guys, there was blood all over that building. We tested it. I know that is not foolproof. I know that, spraying it down with luminol is not foolproof, and there's other ways, but we tested it too. There was a rag that was ripped in half. Like I said, there was a bullet hole right through the door. What if he had gotten shot through his stomach, okay? This is what I think happened. I'm gonna give you my theory. I think someone found him, caught him either stealing or went up there and found him. They shot him through his stomach. That's why there's a red rag that's ripped apart.
Right.
One on the front of your stomach and one on the back. And guess what? I tested it a second time with a different blood testing method, and it tested positive for blood. A lot of blood on that rag, on both those rags, one on the front and one on the back of his torso. I think he stayed in that building for a while. He got sicker and sicker until he could not handle it anymore. He walked 1.5 miles. That's all he made it. He was an avid hiker. He hiked all the time. The police said in the reports he was an avid hiker.
The ranchers were seeing him all the time.
Yes, the ranchers were seeing him all the time.
That was before he hid out.
Now, he hid out, and you could see in there that there was vomit in a bucket. There was like really a lot of vomit in one bucket, and in another bucket in the back, I think he got an infection. He was taking goat milk, which he stole again.
Yeah, he
from
stole.
Jeremy. And he was trying to heal himself. I think he was shot. I think he was getting really bad. I think at this time he tried to walk down the road to make it to some help. It's too far. It's just, you can't. He made it 1.5 miles. And he died right there at that bush.
Yeah.
And I think he was murdered. I really honestly believe he was murdered. And I don't say that lightly because he could have died from other ways. But there's motive there, guys. There's motive. There's like these guys out there who think they're in a Wild West. They think that, you know, they could kill trespassers. And we're going to make a video on that later.
Oh, yeah.
And they think they could kill trespassers even if they're trespassing. And this guy, who knows? These people were like, they did not like him. Who did it? Who knows? No one will ever find out. Pershing County, the worst sheriff department in the freaking world. And what's weird is where David Quippy said that he would look for Jeff is exactly where he was found, guys.
Yeah, Fencemaker Pass.
Fencemaker Pass, right there on that road. He was found. By who? We don't know who found him.
No. But his remains were skeletal, so they weren't able to determine
the cause of death was undetermined because his remains. Yep, exactly.
And a lot of people say, "Oh, how did you find out he died? How did you find out?"
This is an important one.
So we're able to find it in one article. It's like at the bottom. You have to scroll through the slideshow. I'm not sure why, but then it says his remains were found on December 9th.
Or if you don't believe that, why don't you just give the Pershing County a call? We're gonna head right back out now. We're gonna go back out in the field, guys. Let's finish up this video.
Let's go.
All right, you guys, so right now we are going to head over to the location of where Jeremy had homesteaded. Jeremy and what was the other person's name?
Cody.
Jeremy and Cody had homesteaded a little piece of property over there. We're going to go show you guys that location right now of where Jeff was stealing a lot of that stuff that we have found in this building.
Yeah.
So let's go do that now. And we're also going to go see the location where his remains were found. But we want to answer a question real quick. We get a question a lot. What was the question we usually get?
Where was his vehicle?
That's right. Where was his vehicle? We don't actually know where his vehicle was found.
But he did at one point run out of gas, and his vehicle was somewhere, we could guess, in this area.
Exactly matching what he said in his journal. Gas, question mark.
Yeah.
Because down somewhere, like right down this road somewhere, his vehicle had run out of gas. He left it there. When they were searching for him, the sheriff's department put a note on there saying, emergency message for him. But during that time,
people kept vandalizing.
Yes, the
his
vandals,
truck.
the people who destroy this and destroy everything were vandalizing his truck. And they vandalized his truck, and eventually his truck was towed away and impounded. So that's why his truck is...
That's why there's keys on the table,
yes,
no vehicle when we found this place.
He was living here. He had no vehicle. He couldn't get anywhere.
Yeah.
Which I want to know is, if I was a sheriff or a county sheriff or something, and I knew some guy who was out here, living out here, and he ran out of gas, I would go and get a tank, fill up some gas in a gas can. I would have put some gas in the truck for him. I don't know why they didn't do that. I'm telling you, the Pershing County Sheriff's Department are a joke. Matter of fact, when we got stuck out in the middle of nowhere, it was in Pershing County, they weren't going to come out and help us. They said no, they weren't going to come help us. It was Washoe County who sent the search and rescue out to help us. Just want to point that out. That's how bad Pershing County is. They're freaking horrible. They're awful. Anyways, let's go and see Jeremy's place now. There, you can see it.
Yeah, it's the exact same kind.
Exact same water tank. So Jeff was coming out here and he was stealing a lot of stuff from this building, and these people that were living here, they've left. They since left this area, and they've pretty much abandoned the whole entire thing. But this is where they were coming. It's a shame someone has broken their window out. Huh.
Yeah.
And this is where Jeff, look, you can see they have the same propane tanks and everything on the ground that was found in Jeff's building. So Jeff was like starving out here, and he was trying to make it. And this is where he was coming and basically getting all of his goods from. Yeah, maybe he was coming here to fill up his water bottles.
Actually,
before
right.
his truck died. Because look, they had a well. They actually had a well here. I don't know if it's... Nothing's happening.
That's where the goats were, over there. What do you think happened to the goats?
I don't know, but that
When they
doesn't
left.
work. And that's where they had the goats over there. They had a goat pen, and they made a go of it. But when we talked to Jeremy, he said they actually left because their stuff kept getting stolen.
Yeah, I'd probably leave
And
too.
we knew that, you know, it was Jeff. Most of the stuff that we found in the building over there was actually Jeff's, that we thought was Jeff's stuff, was actually stuff from this building. And this ties into exactly why we believe that Jeff was hiding during the time when they were searching for him.
Yeah, he might have thought that they were looking for him because he had been stealing.
Because,
lots of stuff.
he had been stealing from all these places out here. He had been stealing. So I personally believe that he thought that they were looking for him and he was going to get in trouble. And that's why he barricaded himself into that building. And that's why maybe it says no raid.
Yeah.
Think about that, guys.
Yeah, that one journal entry.
That
was
one
weird.
journal entry said no raid. Some people say no rain. Could have been. I think it said no raid. And I think that's
Yeah.
because he was afraid that they were coming to get him. And that's when he heard all this commotion by he was hiding out
Why
in that
he had
building.
that little step to look outside the
Yes,
window. Yeah, a little
exactly.
step where you could step
All
up.
right, let's get out of here. All right, guys, this is the exact location where Jeff's remains were found. We
Right in
put
this
this, yeah, right here in this bush. We put this memorial up from about, I'd say 6 months ago, or maybe about 6 months ago. We've come back twice, and each time it's been kind of destroyed. So we're gonna have to try to fix it up again. But his building's about 1.5 miles up this road, just that way. But you could see, look at this would have been his last view of what he's seen before he died in this very location. And he was an avid hiker. He went walking in his journal, and you could see he wrote over and over again that he was going to go for a walk, which leads me to believe he was very, very ill, most likely an infection, I believe, from a gunshot wound through his torso. He made it about to here, and then they found his remains right here, which is another question that we're frequently asked.
Just how do we know?
Yeah, no, not how do we know. A question that we're frequently asked is what was the cause of his death? Right?
Yeah.
And the cause of death was unknown. The cause of death was unknown because his remains were skeletal. And of course, you're dealing with the Pershing County Sheriff's Department. I bet you they didn't even have an autopsy performed on him.
No.
So this is the end of the story, guys. This is it. So let us know what you guys think. Let us know if you think the Pershing County should have researched this more, should have investigated this more, should have actually looked into the possibility that Jeff was murdered. Let me know if you guys think he was murdered. It seems to make sense to me. All right, you guys, that's it.